when is Jesus coming to fetch him?
Sure.
Because there was just absolutely no way out. I couldn't see a way out.
Wow.
And so they didn't know that my name was called stupid at home. And
Slow learner.
slow learner. People literally, family called me stupid. It doesn't mean that if someone's a negative influence that they're completely out of your life. It just means you have to see them less.
Yeah.
Your marriage is toxic as a result of someone.
All right. Well, welcome to it. Another episode of Love, Marriage, and Family Podcasts with me, Mo, and I'm with Pindi. On her glasses. Looking all intelligent today.
All right, everybody. So I've decided to join my people over here. I thought they shouldn't look intelligent alone, you know what I mean? So I've decided to join them, but I'm on my glasses today.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be able to keep up.
They suit you well, though, must
You
say.
think so, hey?
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I like the corners and...
Anything for you, babe.
for me!
Anything for you. But, welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast, and we hope you're having a great time. We really hope that you've enjoyed the previous episodes.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for the likes, for the comments, for the shares. And for those who have just joined this podcast by subscribing, thank you so much for joining the family. And we hope that you'll be staying here for the longest time.
Indeed. And today we're joined by a wonderful guest, a guest that we've been looking forward to have a chat with for various reasons. One, and chief among those, is, of course, a book that she has written, and the book is called Built to Last. This is a marriage blueprint for everybody. If you've just been married, if you're about to get married, if you are 30 years married, or maybe even 50 years married, this book is for you because, as humans, we know that we are forever developing, and we never get to a point where we say we actually know it all.
Yeah.
And for one of the reasons, and that's one of the reasons that we thought, let's have this wonderful guest. And of course, to us, she is Marilyn, and to you, she is Dr. Marilyn Saunders, and she's one of the soldiers in this marriage ministry that we've been soldiering with, for quite some time now, and we're so blessed to have you, on this platform today, and it's your first time being with us on this particular platform, and we hope that it certainly is not the last time because,
Definitely.
this subject is inexhaustible.
Yes.
As it were. With those words, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me,
Thank you.
Pastor Mo and
Yay.
Pastor Pindi.
Thank
you.
you.
So much.
Yes, so they're not Mo and Pindi anymore.
Well, it depends. It depends. But thank you so much. It is indeed a pleasure. And we are grateful, obviously, for God changing our title, Sometimes you think, I don't have to, I need to wait and all of that. But I suppose when it's God's time, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
And that's how we found ourselves here. But I think just to kick it off, I know you've been doing this for quite a while. I think, that's all you've been doing from what I remember.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit. Mo has just introduced you, but what got you into this space? What got you into the marriage space? You could have done anything. I mean, you have a PhD, for crying out loud.
So trauma, God uses trauma.
Yeah.
And God uses disappointment
Yeah.
for his glory, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you wonder why.
Yeah.
And then you find, okay, now I get it. That's where my passion comes from. So I'm not going to give a long story because, But basically, I was raised in a home of domestic violence. And I was the baby. So, you're either in your mom's lap when you get it with her or Dad wouldn't harm me, but you get that conflict and the anger. And quickly, when I was 5 years old, I remember standing in between them and saying, Daddy, don't hit Mommy. And then one day I saw Mom with a blue eye. I saw a lot of other stuff as I grew up. And I didn't know divorce existed. And I said to her, without thinking, kids say things, they say the darndest things, don't they?
Yeah.
And one of
Indeed.
mine was, when is Jesus coming to fetch him?
Sure.
Because there was just absolutely no way out. I couldn't see a way out. And I think with that, when I went to school, nobody knew about secondary trauma. And it affected me, it affected my concentration, my memory. I couldn't study well. And so nobody knew. Those years, not even teachers had a clue. So I think I was sort of not officially assessed, but I was told that I'm a slow learner. And it was always a miracle when my mother, it's like a miracle when she sees there's a pass in the report. It's like, wow, she almost like she wants to have a party just with the pass.
Sure.
Whereas mothers get excited with a 75% and an 85% today. She just saw pass. But I think most parents those years celebrated a pass, not percentages. So I didn't think that I would be a psychologist one day, but I was very interested in behavior because remember, when you've been raised with trauma and conflict, you pick it up very quickly around you. You pick up anxiety around you. And I think I used to watch couples a lot, parents a lot with kids, watch behavior. And I think that's where the interest came. And then I started wanting to work with children. That's where my initial interest was, children.
Yeah, of course. You were
Because
young.
I know what it was like to live in a home of conflict daily. And I think there's more to it, to the testimony, obviously. But yes, and that is when I went to study later after I got married. I started studying Pindi
Yes,
later,
that's good.
after 30. But I think it was good for me to first find out what is it that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it's also my mom couldn't afford, she was a single mom. So she couldn't afford, universities it wasn't possible to go to university when you have a single mom. That's a domestic and a cleaner. So you didn't dream about going to the university. And then I had a friend, a Pedi friend, a Christian that was in Cape Town, and they said, come and stay with us, come and start something here. Went to Seshego.
Yeah.
They study, they have 2-3 degrees, one person.
Wow.
And so they didn't know that my name was called stupid at home. And
Slow learner.
And slow learner. People literally, family called me stupid. It was actually a name. And so God moved it from there. When I got married, my husband said, let's go to the north. Let's go to that time it was Petersburg, Polokwane. And every day someone would tell me, Marilyn, you need to study. I said, yeah. Why can't you study? Why can't you do a degree? I'm thinking, okay, they don't know I can't. They don't know I'm stupid. They don't know.
How can I do that?
And I don't tell them. I just said, okay. Then eventually I thought, no, man, if this one and this one and this one has got degrees, so what's wrong with me? But that continuous daily influence shifted my mindset and my cognitive belief that this is possible.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's when I registered in Polokwane, my first paper.
Wow.
When I wrote my first paper, I cried while I was sitting there and I was just saying, Lord, can you believe it? I'm actually writing an exam in a university.
And this is
That was like amazing. It was an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like God, you brought me here to write my first paper.
Yeah.
And it's just been a journey with God right up until when God starts something, He finishes it off.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And it went to PhD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
such
amazing.
It's such an incredible, unbelievable journey, to be honest. I know you've shared this before with us, but every time it's almost like I'm hearing it for the first time because there's a lot of people out there who don't believe in themselves. And most of the time, this not believing in themselves comes from what people have told them. You know, when you've been told that you will amount to nothing and you are stupid and all of those things, you kind of believe
And it's not
that.
one person, it's the whole community.
It's the whole community.
So whenever I used to write an exam, it's almost like the devil would say, come now. You're trying to fake it now. You know you're stupid.
Who do you think you are?
You're pretending now. You're not going to pass this exam. Every exam was an emotional and spiritual fight
Sure.
to get through.
I hope
Every exam
same
Same.
challenge.
would come back. Your childhood trauma would come back. That you're not good enough.
Yeah.
It's amazing
Who
how
says you're going to be a psychologist?
Yeah.
Who says that?
I hope you
Come
invited
now.
hope
Come
you invited
now.
them to your PhD graduation. Everybody, please come and watch for yourself. You know?
It's amazing how those voices follow us.
Yes.
And you were talking about secondary trauma, you know, how those voices follow
Yeah.
us as if they are they remain fresh in our minds, as even as we grow old, you know, and they could be
They still try. They
Yeah.
still try.
impediments.
They still try to sabotage you.
Yeah.
And that
And
is-
if you don't know who you are in the sense of you being established in your identity in Christ,
Yes.
you know, you will listen to them to the point of you obeying them,
Believe.
Yes.
you know,
and giving up.
And giving up.
I also
because-
failed. I mean, I failed at primary school. High school, I also failed at university. And I could easily give up. But
Yeah.
God was with me.
Yeah.
And I held on to what He believed.
Yeah.
What did He believe in me? Where does He want me to go?
Yeah.
And I knew that I had a purpose. So after working with children, I realized I can't change the child because the child goes home and the mom's still bullying the child.
Yeah.
And you sit with them, you know. And I thought, let's work with the parents. They've got trauma.
So,
and that's how I
yeah.
changed from children to adults. Help the adult. And then somehow I would put in a child's opinion thing and then, but help them
Yeah.
then to help the child.
Yeah.
Sure. That is incredible because
Yeah.
if you've got a healthy home, healthy parents, then automatically the child will be okay.
Yes.
And that was such a good
And you see the
transition.
child, you see the child only for 1 hour, goes
Yeah.
back to dad's bullying, subtle
Back to square one.
bullying.
Yeah.
Criticism every day breaks a marriage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People don't know that. They
No.
think, why are you so sensitive about criticism? But the accumulation of criticism becomes a wound. And that breaks you. And that makes you not want to be with that person for life. It is not sustainable to criticize your wife daily or husband and think that they're going to be with you for life.
It isn't.
It's a
It
small thing
isn't.
like criticism.
Yeah. Actually, we'll need to.
It's not the big thing.
Dedicate a
not-
whole app on that.
Yeah.
You know, because
Talking down on your partner.
know,
And you think
it's
that
really-
nothing's going to happen. Like, why would you leave me? I'm just telling you that you cook lousy.
Yeah.
There's a way that we can teach you how to say it. You're not a good mom.
Yeah. Who do you
The
think
worst
you are?
thing a husband and a wife can tell each other is that you're a bad father, or you're a bad mom, or you're an incompetent mom, or
Yeah.
you're an incompetent dad. It's always important to say, you know, sweetie, you are, or you know, whatever you want to call him, you have good qualities in 1, 2, 3. But there are still 1, 2, 3 that you can grow in. Instead of saying you are bad because. So there are ways of putting it without harming. Doesn't mean you must shut up not to harm. You can say it without harming. And that's the skill that you learn.
Yeah, one
That's
of the
incredible.
four horsemen,
Pillars,
4 horsemen of the
Yeah.
apocalypse. In marriage, criticism is one of them, which is really, really deadly. Another one is contempt, you know, and treating each other, you know, contemptuously. You know, the idea of criticism and negative communication to your partner, as you say, there's positive ways of communicating something without breaking the other person down. You know, we always have this thing, Nopindi, of, you know, when you are with somebody, how are they after you are gone?
What impact?
You know, how
Are
are
you
they?
leaving?
You
Oof,
know,
yeah.
when they say next time we'll see each other, are they looking forward to it? You know, or are they finding ways and excuses of trying to avoid, you know, that meeting again? You know,
yeah.
because criticism has that effect. It makes you
Yes.
not to look forward to come home.
Yes.
You know, after work, it makes you look forward not to have your husband home, you know, as well, because, you know,
Not feeling
it's heavy.
and not feeling good
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
You just
Absolutely.
can't make this person happy. When you start believing, I'm not able to make you happy, you plan to leave.
Yeah. Without even your partner knowing.
Without your partner knowing, you're busy moving in your mind before you move in with your suitcase.
Wow.
And that's the thing about you know, traumas. It can either lead you this way or that way.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that you know, trauma has led you is, first of all, to complete your PhD. You have your own practice, you know, as a clinical psychologist, but at the same time, you are an author. The author of Built to Last. This book, in terms of its foundation and where it's built, now you've given us that backdrop, you know, in terms of where it comes from. And you are discussing critical pillars, you know, around how to build a marriage
Yeah.
that will last, you know, as well. And we want to walk through, you know, a couple of those. And
And my research is based on marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's researched as well, what will work and what won't work as well. And that's part of it is in the book.
Love that. I love the fact that you have used the metaphor of a book, of a home, first of all, you know, for this book, which is amazing because where else, you know, what else could you have used?
Yes.
You know, except the home. But I want us to get into the 4 pillars that you've also put in your book, because I think those are going to be so beneficial for people that are listening.
Yes.
One of those is the foundation. You call it a solid foundation of trust and communication.
Yes.
Love that. Please take us through what
So
that pillar.
there are 8 pillars.
Yeah.
Right? So a house divided against itself will not stand. That's what husband and wives need to remember. If there's conflict, continuous conflict, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Can you please remember the word, it is not sustainable. Even if you do something good, it may not be sustainable. If you say, I'm going to wash my wife's feet every night, I already know now the partner's boasting is washing his feet every night, the newlyweds. We know that's not sustainable. We know there's going to be a fight. Eventually, you're not a good husband. So you always need to know one word. Whatever I am negotiating with my partner, is it sustainable?
Yeah, that's good.
Something that
Will it
you
be,
can keep.
will it be long-lasting?
Yeah.
And negotiate around. That is why don't force a man to do something if he doesn't want to. You're going to force him to make the bed. Is it sustainable? No. He's not going to make the bed next week because you're forcing him. Negotiate options. Okay, he's not really good in making the bed, but what does he like to do? He likes to do peanut butter and jam. So do the peanut butter and jam. Isn't it?
I'm going to change my strategy, babe.
Right?
You are not
Finally!
You are not going to
So that isn't that sustainable? Isn't that sustainable?
Yeah.
He likes making peanut butter and jam for himself and the kids. You make the bed.
Yeah.
What is sustainable? He'll be able to do that lifelong.
That is
Because
so
it's something
powerful.
that he can do.
Yeah.
When you force a man, it's not sustainable.
Often-
When you force a woman, it's also not,
Not
sustainable.
sustainable either. Yeah.
So if
'Cause I
there's
mean,
just one thing that they learn is that they learn this one thing.
Yeah.
Evaluate and negotiate sustainability.
Yeah.
So if you're forcing me now to take you to the shops every Friday, my darling, that's sustainable. I actually could do that. Another man would say, but I'm with the guys on a Friday.
Yeah.
That is not sustainable for me.
Yeah.
And forcing them to buy you flowers as well is
that's
not sustainable.
That's not sustainable. My husband told me in the beginning, plants are better, last longer. And I believed him because he didn't have to buy flowers so often.
Yeah.
Because
Rather
there's a
let
plant.
it grow.
Often, isn't it interesting though that we often express what we are passionate about and
Yes.
reflect it on somebody else, you know, and it goes, and I'm stretching it now, it also goes to the love languages.
Absolutely.
The language that I speak, often I would stretch it and extend it to my partner so that my partner, you know, it may not necessarily the way that she speaks, but it's because of the way that I speak. If, for an
Absolutely.
example, I am an acts of service kind of guy,
Yeah.
right? And I like doing things and whatever. My wife, her expression of love towards me, if she doesn't express it in that way, but express it in the way that she understands it, buying gifts, for me, it doesn't mean anything. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's this thing of extending yourself to somebody else so that you are
But
reflected in somebody else.
That is why it's not sustainable.
It's not
Yeah.
sustainable.
The love languages are not sustainable. Because you want me to do something for you. So you're coming home with your baby from the hospital and you want me to help you wash the baby. Because we need to negotiate around sustainability.
Because that's what you want.
So my book talks about, it doesn't talk about the 5 love languages.
Yeah.
I have 6 expressions of love. You want to talk about
Yeah,
that? It's
yeah.
part of the foundation
Yeah.
page.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I have rewritten it because you have to use it daily interchangeably.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All 6.
Yeah.
I want 6. I don't want 1. I don't want to tell you what's my gift. No. All 6, I love all 6. If you
Can
can
we
do
go
it when
through
I
those?
need
Yeah.
it.
Can we go through those?
The 6 ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
I'm worried it's going to take the whole episode.
No, it won't.
But that's
quickly.
Let's go.
Coffee time is one of my tools in communication.
Coffee time.
Coffee time is to teaching you how to listen.
Yeah.
And it's problem solving. So when you go
Okay.
through the 6 stages of coffee time during the wall, the washing of the walls,
Yeah.
or the painting of the walls, it talks about coffee time. It's 6 steps that you take without conflict in solving a problem, finding a resolution.
Yeah.
So now, my first 6 expressions of love is coffee time. It means you've got to sit, switch everything off, and now we're going to talk. You start with a compliment. I'm not going to give you all 6.
Yeah.
You start off with a compliment because that a guy, if he gets a compliment, I mean, okay, now I can listen.
Yeah. Kind
Men love it and
settles
women
them.
love it. So yes, maybe you don't love him as a husband today because he didn't do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But he's a good father, or
Yeah.
he works well at his work, or he's well kept. You care. There's always a compliment.
Like he's a good
It's
provider.
a compliment. So you have your coffee time and fun time is different.
Yeah.
You don't mix it up. That's how I've got it separate.
Okay.
So coffee time is serious time.
Yeah.
Then fun time is when we just have fun with the family or just ourselves
Yeah.
together.
Okay.
And then we have coffee time, fun time, and then we also have affection. To have emotional affection and physical affection. That is when you zoom into the emotions of a woman.
Can you mix?
If we can figure those out.
So
Yeah.
yes, there's times when you want a word that says, babes, I can see you sad. And there's times when I just want an arm around my shoulder, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I want both. So that's how affection has both. And then you have the gift of love. That is when I will declare my love for you.
Yeah.
And I will compliment you all the time. And I'm not going to go through all, I can read it. And then the last one, the 6th one, is the gift of prayer.
of prayer.
That's not in the love language. And that
Yeah.
is so important because I can be angry with you, but I need to go and tell the Lord, you need to sort out your son.
Yeah.
Please
Oh,
sort
wow.
out your son because I can't handle him. And if you're not going to sort him out, Lord, then look, I don't want to leave him, but you got to sort him out.
You have to deal with
You
him.
have to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
Then I have to pray for him. And he has to pray for me. And I know some men don't like the loud prayers.
Yeah.
Not all of them are as spiritual as the wife or the
Yeah.
husband is as spiritual. So we need to respect that boundary and do quiet prayers then.
Yeah.
Don't have to go loud, up and down. Yes, Lord, you must sort him out. Yeah,
Yeah.
just go quietly and don't make him feel,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your God.
Present,
It's
and then
represent
even present
you.
this God that you are
because
praying
you're
to.
praying so loud. Just quietly go into your closet and
Yeah.
pray. So that's, I'm not going to share everything.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
not share everything because we still want people to get the book, right?
Yeah.
But I want us to go back to those. You said there were
The
eight.
pillars.
The 8
so
pillars.
the one is preparation of
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
preparation of restoring.
Yeah.
Remember, the builder must prepare, right?
Correct.
Get everything
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
before you can restore or
Yeah.
mold,
Yeah.
right? So the preparation is defining your relationship. And there's 3. You have your religious, where people are both focused on the word and how important it is to marriage.
Yeah.
Then you have an individualistic person, religious person, an individualistic, and a collectivistic. That's the three. The individualistic is the one that's like a single man or single woman. I know, please, I'm not gender biased,
Yeah.
but they don't want to do marriage. It's on paper we married and we did the labolo, but they don't want to do marriage.
They don't
were
wanna
out
feel
with the
tied
guys.
down.
They want to do. Don't. I'm not going to ask you permission that I want to go to a Chisanyama. I want to go to the Chisanyama.
I'll do what I wanna
And I'm
do.
not going to tell you when I'm going, and I'm not going to tell you when I'm coming back.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, that's individualistic. Collectivistic is I'm married and I am working in the best interest of the family. One person. So remember, Ubuntu and culture is
Yeah.
like that. It's supposed to be like that, where one person gets sacrificed for the greater good of the family.
Please elaborate on that.
Individualistic.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is collectivistic. So say, for example, Mo, you have now been assigned that you are going to study, but then you've got to take care of the family. And we don't care what the wife feels. Remember?
Oh, I see.
This has been a plan.
I see.
Oh, okay.
This has been a plan. And that is why you have the responsibility to take care of the family. But always, and I've said it in one of my podcasts, is that is where one is being sacrificed for the greater good of the family. Because someone don't want to be a doctor, let's say in the Indian family.
Yeah.
Someone don't want to be a doctor.
Yes, they've got something different.
They want
they're
to be
passionate
an
about.
artist.
Yeah.
I want to go and sing. But the Indian family is going to say, no, you've got to sacrifice for the greater good. We need a doctor in the family. We need some more.
Oh, we're a family of doctors.
Yeah, so you can't be a singer,
Yeah.
a comedian. And so he has to go or feel, let me help the family. It's not what I need. It's what I need to sacrifice for the greater good of the family.
Oh, wow.
They're going to benefit. That's collectivistic. So you'll find that it's quite often in the female role in the marriage.
Yeah.
She's got to make sure that the children's fine and the husband's fine and everything's fine. And then she's got to go and take care of her job. She is sacrificing for the greater good of the family.
Yeah. Doesn't put
But
herself
the
first.
thing is,
yeah.
when you're both collectivistic, then both of you will sacrifice for the greater good. So, Pindi, you cannot go to the university and study for 3 years. And Mo says, okay, I'm going to wait till you're done.
Yeah.
Right? That's for the family.
Yeah.
Because if I'm no longer, then I know you settled with education and blah, blah, blah. Then Mo says, okay, now it's my turn. I always want to do 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So we sacrifice for the greater good of the family. We do sacrifices. But the sacrifices has to be realistic. Remember, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
If one person sacrifices all the time, there's tiredness, exhaustion, and it affects self-worth and resentment.
Yeah.
And I, this could be my observation. I've seen in some cases where a wife, for example, will take the background and allow the husband to further their studies, to climb the corporate ladder, and until later on in life, where someone looks back and thinks, all these years, 20, 30 years of marriage, I have not focused on myself.
That is the greater good, but that's not sustainable.
It's not a good,
sustainable.
at some point you need to both sacrifice, I guess.
Yeah, you both.
Yeah.
And that is when we now get to the windows. That's the vision of the family. I don't even want me to jump around with it, or you want me to take it in order.
Please
Jump
feel
around.
free to do that, yeah.
So I think one of the pillars or parts of the house is the windows. And, cleaning your windows, that's the vision, and that's the shared vision that you have to plan together. So if you're going to restore, if you're going to or you're going to build or rebuild, you now have to look at the vision of the family. Where are we going to go? Besides the vision board, sometimes the vision board doesn't work. It's unrealistic. Because yes, do a vision board, but then you don't have the financial vision with it. You have to have a vision board with a financial planning, and that's one chapter under vision.
And always
so it's well thought of.
The
Yes.
vision board always needs money if you think about it.
Absolutely. So if we're going to say, if you're going to tell Pindi and say, look, we need to buy a holiday home now, it's on our vision board. That's for the next 5 years. But the finance is not aligned. It's useless.
It's going to
Take it off,
frustrate you.
pull it off. It's an unrealistic vision board. And so that is why the windows, a part of the windows, will align the couple, teamwork, realist. You said we're going to move into our new house in 2 years' time, but now you want to go to Dubai. And then after Dubai, you want to go to London.
To Bali.
How's that, or Bali, how's that going to fit into our vision? So you can discuss it and say, then must we pull that off? Do we take it off and put it for later? It is everything you plan.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge of, and I guess that's what makes marriage, an environment of negotiation. This is about, give and take. It's about negotiation. It's about us in order for us to have a common vision, and for us to accomplish that, we need to be disciplined, both of us, when one person is disciplined and the other one is not, then it actually messes the whole thing up. So I guess where I'm getting at is, how important is it for us in order to have these shared goals, this vision that we both share, how important is it for me, who is about to get married, to ensure that I'm at the same level as that person? In other words, whatever we choose to prioritize as whatever our destination is, we are at the same, we're at the same level. I'm talking about the unequal yoke,
Absolutely.
It's important for us to be yoked,
So
equally,
the
right?
book is important for individuals and even for those who are going to get married.
Yeah.
I think that we stay at the dating book.
Yeah.
But I think reading and starting to practice with your mom. I had a nice session where, they had to talk about the roles in the house. And I said to him, you got to watch what I'm doing with you and your mom. Single mom. And you're going to learn that when you sit with your wife, how are you going to negotiate your roles in the house? You cannot tell your mom, I don't want to clean my room, because it's not long for you. You're going to get married.
And you're gonna do the same to your wife.
How are you going to do it? And he's so excited now because he's not just listening to what mom is going to say. He's learning from mom and me of how to negotiate the things and the roles in the house and the rules in the house. So I'll give him the skills. I don't have to wait till he's married to bring his wife.
Yeah.
I'm teaching him the skills to negotiate and to be sustainable and how this will work. And so I'm teaching him particularly of how this would work, how to listen to what mom is saying now. So I'll be giving him communication skills. This is like the more recent one that I am going to implement some of the things for individual counseling as well, that they can use in the marriage and use with the girlfriend. Because if you can't negotiate the girlfriend, a girlfriend would tell you 10 o'clock at night,
yeah,
can you go buy me some juice?
I feel like ice cream.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
How does he negotiate?
Unless you're pregnant, I suppose.
Absolutely, but that's when you're married. So you can already start negotiating when you are dating and saying, no, this person, they don't want to negotiate. But and also they're self-centered. The book, you can't be self-centered when you're married.
No ways.
So, it's all about you. When there's a problem, it's your fault. You the reason why. You. Then the person's not ready for marriage.
Yeah.
Because you will become more wise and know this is the qualities that you need to do when you're married, so that you also know, because there isn't a milestone or anything to gauge whether I'm ready or not.
Yeah.
Mom says, you're ready because now you're 30.
Yeah, because you've
Dad
got,
says, you're 30.
You've got a job.
But you can actually evaluate and see in the book, oh gosh.
Am I ready for
what
this?
Dr. Marilyn is saying, this is just too much for me. I don't think I'll be able to do this with this woman every day.
Yeah, but I like that because it brings reality to you, so that you know that this is not, a joke. Marriage is the truth about marriage. If you are not ready emotionally, you're not going to be able to stick around
Don't be able to stick
for
around.
long. I also want us to talk about rebuilding the emotional walls, you call it.
Yeah, so the walls is about the communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've heard about, I have my back against the wall.
Mm.
Walls have ears. I'm talking to a brick wall.
Yes.
It's all about communication and conflict. So that is why I've named that my walls. So there's two tools there. That is
Okay.
what is the speaker-listener technique. A lot of counselors know that already. That is emotion-focused.
Okay.
So if it's just, I just want to sit and find out about the emotions. What's going on
Yeah.
with my husband? It's very emotional. I'm not going to solve a problem. I just want to focus on the emotion and then make sure she's okay or he. And then the coffee time is, this has been going on for too long and we need to find a resolution without fighting.
A resolution without fighting.
Yeah. That's
And
big.
sometimes you would find it's not, you have to meet again.
Yeah.
So now the woman says, so she's been nagging. She wants a baby and he now wants to have coffee time.
Yeah.
And she says, look, babe, I'm managing the finances. I'm stressed already. Just you talking about a baby.
Yeah.
I'm stressed.
Yeah.
So can you look at it in 3 months' time?
Yeah.
So now we have coffee time in 3 months' time. Because he said in 3 months' time he would have an idea. So now I can work it out. He can have coffee time again in 6 months' time.
Okay.
But by the time he has coffee time and say, I'm ready, and she says, oh, no, I don't want a baby now. My friend can't sleep at work. She's tired. She looks terrible when she comes to work and I got a promotion. There's no way.
Yeah.
So you know what? Sometimes patience is also good in coffee time.
Yeah.
You don't have to solve the problem. You want to go overseas? Let's talk about it more. Let's have a few more coffee times.
So coffee time doesn't
instead of
mean
fighting-
something will be resolved.
Doesn't always mean it, but small
Yeah.
things like taking the children to work, to school or even to work, to varsity,
Yeah.
all that can create conflicts. So rather let us sit down and get something that's durable.
Yeah.
Get something
Yeah.
that's sustainable. Let us work through this.
Yeah.
Because I'm feeling resentful whenever I drop the children off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're still in bed. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
No, certainly. And can we talk a bit about, because I love discussions around boundaries, because as much as you are married, but there are certain boundaries that we need to establish. Can we talk a little bit about, safeguarding those boundaries?
That falls under the chapter, the part of the house of the door.
Yes, yes.
So the husband is key to stand by the husband's supposed to stand by the door. He's the husband. But if you want your wife to stand with you, that's also okay.
Yeah.
Right? It just means that if you, the husband, have to stand up for your family. And so the door is where you and your wife, you discuss external influences, external positive influences and external negative influences. Who are we going to allow into this home? Because whenever someone comes into this house, we're fighting. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Wherever we go to their house and we leave their house, we're fighting.
Yeah.
So let's have coffee time, right? Because that's going to create conflict. Anything that's going to create conflict, we have coffee time.
Yeah.
And let's talk about who is in, usually in my sessions, I would give them a list. Put your friends down and swap. Now they have to say, this one is a negative influence. And he says, most of the time he says there's no negative influences, but anyway.
I can imagine the conflict there.
Now you've got to give reasons why you want the person as seen as negative. And it doesn't mean that if someone's a negative influence that they're completely out of your life. It just means you have to see them less.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
If he has this idea that women shouldn't sit on your head and women is like this, and I think women, you shouldn't marry a woman, then you're not going to be married for long. If a man believes he should have more than one wife, I'm not judging that husband. But if you don't want your you don't want to be married to a man with more than one wife. It's going to be an influence. So can we meet them occasionally, not every week, please?
I like that, Dr. M, because you are not shutting people down completely.
No.
And this is where usually conflict comes from, because someone could be saying, but this person has been my friend, for the last 30 years, for the last 25 years. And I think conflict begins because of that, where people are resisting that change. But I like the fact that you're saying you actually don't need to completely shut people down, but let's reduce our interaction
Absolutely.
with them,
But if you can really see your marriage is toxic as a result of someone, you're going to need to sit down and say, let us put boundaries in place, healthy boundaries. So healthy boundaries means that you're not going to harm that person. They will be offended by the boundary, but it won't be harmful. Like the mother-in-law. There's nothing you can do about the mother-in-law. But let's do
She'll
it.
always be in your
She'll
life.
always be in your life.
Yeah.
But let's do it less harmful. Put boundaries in place. How are we going to do it? You're going to speak with your mom. I will speak with my mom. And let's put boundaries in place and let us agree on the boundaries so that when they visit, if I visit your mom, I'd rather visit 3 hours.
Instead of staying the whole day.
All day, and then I'm building up. Or vice versa. So I think different ideas will work for different people, and that's why it's an architectural blueprint. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Because the architectural, my architectural plan takes you step by step right to the roof.
Yes.
And then you've covered almost all the areas. Not everything is in the book. There still need to be a second book. But it basically covers all the areas that you need to cover to start building.
We need to have a garage in this house where
And
we
really
keep all unwanted friends.
And the workbook makes you work through it and discuss it.
Yeah.
You read, but workbooks and put plans in place.
Yeah.
Very practical.
That's why I love this book. We are authors ourselves, and often we would develop an idea, and then we will tease the whole idea into different offshoots and so forth. The way you've gone about yours, there's case studies, it's very much academic.
workbook.
It has rather an academic element,
yes.
in it as well, in terms of that base and all the workbook itself. I found that quite fascinating. To help and practicalize, things, and so that the two of us as couples, were able to engage on whatever issues. But I do, before we run out of time, I do want us to talk about intimacy. Because that's also one of the.
How did you know?
You wanted to. We are intimate.
I wanted us to talk about strengthening intimacy.
My next book is going to be on sexual intimacy. That's my favorite topic.
I know that's your
heard
favorite topic.
That's my favorite
Guys,
topic.
let
And
me
I
look-
didn't want to do justice with a few pages.
Let me look on camera and just tell you guys. Marilyn will go to town on intimacy.
Yeah.
But I love that about you.
Very healthily,
you
very
know,
good, yeah.
Because you tell it like it is. The way.
Yeah.
In actual fact, I think we need to have
Let's
an
have
episode
an episode on
that's
that.
dedicated on intimacy.
Yeah.
Because I think that's an
A
area.
masterclass properly, yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an area where I believe it's the downfall of many marriages, because people think other things can work, but intimacy can be in the backseat.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about strengthening intimacy?
Relationship. So cementing your relationship. Remember,
Yeah.
cement. We are more than 3 aspects, but it's obviously the respect. When you respect a man, he will do a lot for you. Hey, he will climb a mountain if he feels
He will give you his card.
if he's respected.
Yeah.
And somehow you need to. Sometimes they don't deserve respect, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you can find that niche
Yeah.
to make him feel respected, you can. They say it in Afrikaans, jy kan met hom toer.
Yes.
I don't know what it means.
Yes. You
can be. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You can do a whole lot of things.
Things
even
with
which-
him.
Yeah, here's the thing though. With and I do want us to sort of double down on this. A lot of the guys, and I'm talking husbands, they do things that lend them to disrespect, in the sense that they
Absolutely.
do not, you
Respect
really
their
don't,
wives.
you don't deserve. Isn't it interesting that the Bible says if you want to be a friend, you need to show yourself friendly, right? And the very thing that they lack extending towards you, you may find that by you actually giving that to them, that's how you win them over, as it were. Because whoever doesn't deserve respect, what do? Do you take it away? Do you not give it? What if by you giving it, actually, that's how he ends, that's how
Yes.
he becomes
But-
respectful towards you? How do we handle that?
What men don't understand is if that a woman is walking in pain or wounded,
Okay.
she's not able to
Okay.
because the wound is blocking it.
Oh, yeah.
So the man would have probably had a relationship with someone else, infidelity outside
Yeah.
of the marriage. He apologized 100 times, 1,000,000 times. But if she doesn't work through that, it blocks respect.
So healing
And it
first.
blocks her way of showing love because there's a wound. And so you will find men would have had affairs and they would say, "Man, I can't understand why she doesn't respect me. I mean, I'm doing everything I can and I'm doing 1, 2, 3." You have to, husbands, you have to take care of the wound. You have to make sure in the area that you've wounded her.
Yeah.
That is, so there is a theorist that says that when you've been wounded as a child, you are attracted to the person that's supposed to heal you. It's Dr. Lewis. And he says that the person that's supposed to heal you has a similar positive character trait. Because remember, we've got positive and negative
Yeah.
Yeah.
trait. You're attracted to the positive trait because that person is going to heal the wound.
Wow.
And you will find that that person are more traumatized in the soul because they're expecting healing. When you're doing exactly, you've got the positive side of my dad or the positive side of my mom, but you're actually doing the same.
Wow.
And then the wounding is worse because my expectation is love and love in that area.
Is that the reason why, maybe you can unpack this, why a person who's been abused, especially women, will always fall for the same type of person? You know,
'Cause and it's unconscious.
and
Yeah.
it just boggles my mind, like how somehow those people end up with the same people.
Yes. It's because they're choosing someone to heal the wound. And sometimes you fall for the same boyfriend
Yeah.
that wounded you.
Yeah.
The positive side of the wound. So remember, when a boyfriend or ex-husband wounded you, they have a positive side. There's a caring side, for example, a financial caring. But they have very little patience with you. So now they see a financially caring person, you're attracted to the financial caring, only to find out that you actually
Actually,
do exactly the
they
same.
abuse as well.
But it's very unconscious. You attracted immediately, and you don't know what the attraction. It's the wound. It's the wound.
that draws you to those people.
The need for the healing.
Oh wow.
Is that similar to what in rape we call the Stockholm syndrome? Falling in love with the person that hurt you? Would that be different?
It will be different.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to see the rapist as a human.
Oh,
So when you've
okay.
been locked up in a house for a long time,
Yeah.
you're seeing this person as a caring human because you're also bringing food, you're also making sure, but then raping you. Doing
Speaks
this.
nice to
so there's
you.
both sides to a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a woman can latch onto the good side as well. Yeah. But the attraction starts from the wounding. And it's all unconscious.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
it's not conscious. But if you sort yourself out with your own wounding, then it won't be a very strong pull any longer.
Yes.
And that's where you take your power back and say, I'm rather going to go for help than allowing someone else to help me.
Sure. That is so powerful because in order for this to stop, you need to start with your own healing.
You need to start your own healing. And I must say, society today, the modern society are all about self-healing. Whether they're going to Google or whether they buy books or whether they go see a therapist, they're all interested in self-healing, which is good. So I wasn't into therapy that time when I was married,
Yeah.
but my husband helped me with self-healing, with my healing. He helped heal the wounds. He didn't know though, but
Yeah.
I told him where I was wounded, and he would always substitute that, encourage me, motivate me.
So would you say communication is key? Because I'm thinking now, you're sitting wherever, you're watching from, and you know that you have wounds or deep wounds, but your partner is not aware of those wounds that you have.
So that is, I'm going to talk about this amending now. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's the vulnerability. It's the vulnerability. Vulnerability is it's cement.
Yeah.
It cements the relationship. Remember when you were small and a little girl says, don't tell anybody, but my dad is eating my mommy, keep a secret. And you tell her secret. And it's like you sisters for life.
Bond. Yeah.
It's a bond. When I did my research in my PhD, there's a couple that was married for about close to 30 years. And we were sharing our childhood wounds, those who wanted to, obviously. It wasn't forced.
Yeah.
And this husband was sharing his wounds. And his wife, and he had tears in his eyes. And it's like, she was shocked. Like I knew something happened, but not to this extent. Anyway, as a psychologist, I debriefed him lunchtime. And then in the evening, later afternoon, I called as well just to see how he's doing. And she said, Marilyn, we have never been as close as this to the 20 years of marriage.
Oh, wow.
Never. Because now I know where his anger's coming from. Now, so in the workshops, it's not as much in the book. It'll go into the next book, sexual intimacy and wounding, and all those more serious stuff will be in there.
Yeah.
But it is the vulnerability that creates that closeness. And in the workshop, couples are sharing their wounds privately.
Yeah.
And they could easily pick up what the triggers were.
Because all along you'll think you are dealing with, I don't know, someone's outbursts and someone's short temper without realizing that actually
Where that comes from.
it's
It's a wound.
coming from a wound that you did not even cause.
Over-exaggeration is an idea for wound, like over-exaggerating expressions. Phoning 20 times, where are you? It's a wound. He had my ex-husband had an affair at night.
Yeah.
Where are you? I'm phoning 20 times. It's the wound that's creating that.
Yeah.
Because you've been
Because you've been through it and you have anxiety.
Wow.
So anxiety kicks in when there's a wound. Or if your ex-husband has had affairs after work. We used to work late at night. Now you've got a lovely, loyal husband. Honest, and he's gone to work. You come in, you're angry. You don't know why you're angry. It's a wound. I found you were not in your office. I was in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Can you see that the anxiety went?
Yeah.
Oh, you can have food. The food is in the microwave. But he's like thinking, why is she so rude?
Yeah.
Why is she so disrespectful? Like, I'm such a good husband, Marilyn. I'm like working
I
for the
work
family.
hard for my family.
But she comes and she's rude.
Oh, wow.
She walks in and she's rude.
Sure. Oh, this is like
This is so healing.
yeah,
the
it's so
conversation.
critical as
Yeah.
well because people have got so many triggers, and only if we can take time and reflect, on ourselves as to if I get triggered in this area, what is causing that trigger, and just be honest with ourselves,
To being students of one another. What we always say, it's difficult to love something or even somebody that you don't know.
Yeah.
See, and it means that I need to take time to learn and become your students, about your life, where you've been, who you've met, who did what, and all of that, so I can love you appropriately.
Yeah.
Because outside of that, it'll be a kind of love that even if I express it, you won't feel it because it doesn't speak to you, as well. I really love this conversation. I think that our time is really an issue.
Against us,
But in
let's
terms
wrap-
of
yeah.
in terms of the book itself, if there is one or two things that you want a reader,
I want to read something for you. Would you like me to read?
Please
Thank you.
do.
Thank you.
Okay. So the stairs of the house.
Yes.
Talks about different stages,
Yeah.
right? So you have stages of intimacy. It's got 4 stages. I'm not going to mention it now.
Sure.
It has 4 stages, and then there's stages of love.
Okay.
So the first stage is falling in love, marriage,
Yeah.
falling in love, getting married. The next stage is becoming a couple.
Okay.
So becoming a couple now is we've got a baby or a cat and a dog. You feel
Yeah.
you're becoming a couple. There's more stability now as a family.
Responsibility, I guess.
Responsibility, things are moving. Not all families in that stage becoming a couple is the same. So that is why you have your own blueprint, right? So some couples will say after our first baby, our marriage went
South.
pear-shaped and south because it was of no return. Whereas some couples would say, after the baby, we started feeling closer.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, it's different. Blueprints are different for different couples, right? The third one is disillusionment, which I'm going to read something
Yeah.
out of it. And then after disillusionment, it's real love. It's now really saying, you know what? We are working on real and lasting love. Remember the sustainable one?
Yeah.
Real and lasting love. The fifth stage is the power of 2. You now are in the stage of the power of 2, changing your world.
Oh. Interesting. Please do.
You are now in the power of 2.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you won't go back to stage 3.
Yeah.
You know, you'll visit there because it's different for different people. Some say, no, I don't. We've never gone back to stage 3 disillusionment. You know, but disillusionment is something that stood out for me, and I don't think
Yeah.
a lot of couples realize that disillusionment is real in marriage. It doesn't mean divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is where they divorce and they separate because it becomes too much.
To handle. Oh.
Too much to handle.
Yeah.
So, step 3 is disillusionment. The third stage is often a shocking and painful reality check for couples. My word.
What is happening?
Who am I married to?
Yeah.
He's evil. He's terrible. He's unloving.
Yeah.
He doesn't love me. Many marriages fail during this stage because couples assume the relationship is doomed, when in fact this stage is a natural part of the process.
So this is all part of the plan.
Part of the process. This is a period of emotional disconnection where partners may feel like strangers to one another. Small annoyances grow into significant irritations, and both partners may feel unloved and uncared for. During disillusionment, couples often withdraw emotionally or physically. Never at home. Come when you're asleep. Some might bury themselves in work or family obligations to escape the discomfort. But dissatisfaction continues to build. This stage can manifest as frequent conflict, anger, and frustration, leaving both partners feeling trapped. While some couples might separate or divorce during this stage, others may merely exist together. So, well, this is what it is. Without intimacy or connection, prolonged exposure to this stage can lead to physical or emotional illness, such as depression, as partners grieve the loss of the love they once shared.
This is so common, Marilyn. We've actually just run out of time. I think this is so critical.
So the silver
Because,
lining here is, I'm not going to read further.
Yeah.
The silver lining here is, this is the time when you do checks, What
Yeah.
can we fix?
Yeah.
Instead of
What
running.
can we change? I go for healing, you go for healing. How can we build? And then you go to real love.
Yeah,
And
which
then
is
you-
where everybody wants
Now
to
we're
land
real.
there.
To be.
Now I know who you are.
Yeah.
And I can live with this, but I can't live with that.
Yeah.
Can we change and shift? Now it's real. It's not honeymoon and fairy.
We can negotiate
and
our
you
way
need to wash
around.
my feet every day, and you need to go and do my shopping for me every day. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's now real. We're now doing marriage together.
Yeah.
We're now making the wheel turn.
Oh, my.
And then you are so powerful to empower other couples
Yeah.
like yourself, and you change your world as the power of two.
Love it. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. M.
Oh, man.
This has been empowering, and I'm certain that whoever was watching this podcast, you're not going to leave the same.
Yeah.
This has been incredible. But the book is out.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in getting the book, you can visit Dr. M's social media pages,
And they are?
which we'll also share,
we'll share
on the
on there.
comments. Actually,
And the
I'll
page
put them
of
on the
book,
comments
and
section.
the page of the book is Marilyn Saunders.
Yeah.
.co.za.
MarilynSaunders.co.za.
That's where the books will be online.
Absolutely. Oh, man.
Awesome.
Dr. Marilyn, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank
and
you for
as Pindi
inviting us.
extended earlier on, our conversation needs to be continuous. We need to come back and talk about Pindi's favorite subject, and
Which is
on intimacy. And
sweetheart.
I'll join her
Between
in
you
that.
and me,
I'll join her
okay.
in that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful episode. We really hope that you've been empowered in as much as we have. And we always have these masterclasses just so that we ensure that we are sharpened, in various aspects of our lives and our relationships. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. More importantly, thank you for subscribing, to this channel. Please share it to other people, and let's increase and let's get the marriage conversation going. My name is Mo, and of course, this is...
My name is Pindi. Until next time, much love.